Hello weirdos, welcome back to my channel. My name is EmmaAbe and we are doing another haul. I've got the baby right here and she has her collar on, so I gotta take it off. If I can find where the thingamajigger is to take it off. She's not happy. She's like, what the fuck are you doing? Yeah, but I want you to be able to see your face. Yeah, look at you. You're so cute. Look at you. Can I say hi? She's like, no, it's all comfy. It's all comfy. You make me move. Okay, I'll put you back. I'll put you back. There you go. There you go. Alright, so what are we doing? Today we are doing a haul. Quite simply, I got 20 books to show you. Let's get started. So this first one that I'm going to show you is the Merciless ones. This is by Namia Forma, and this is the second book in the Gilded Ones trilogy, and I'm currently reading this. I'm about, they're here. I'm about halfway through. I did not put the dust jacket on correctly. And I'm liking it so far. It's interesting. We're learning more things about the world. Basically, you have this society where men are subjugating women, but women were like the original gods of this place. And so men basically overthrew these gods. We have our main character, Dega, who is trying to figure out what exactly is going on. Is there stuff that the mothers or the female deities aren't telling them? Because some weird stuff is happening. That's kind of all I want to tell you about this, because it's kind of hard to talk about this book because it is a sequel in a trilogy, I think. Look at my arm. Look at my arm. Yeah, you are. You just want attention. The next book that I got is Julia Alvarez's In the Time of the Butterflies, and I'm also reading this right now. I'm about 2 chapters in, and I picked this up not knowing anything about it, and because it is, some of my kids have to read it, my students have to read it, so that's why I picked it up in the first place. And I was reading it and I was just like, wait, is this about those women who were driven off a cliff by people in government? And I was right. It was about those people. It was first chapter. I was like, wait a second. So that's pretty cool that I was right about the gut feeling, because I didn't know anything when I started reading this book. So yeah, it's basically about the story of these 4 women who were living in the Dominican Republic, and they were protesting the government essentially, and they were murdered by the government essentially. Really interesting story, and I'm liking it so far. So that's this one. So the next book that I got is Strange Beasts of China by Yan Ge, and I cannot tell you why I picked this book up. It looked interesting. The cover looks cool. It's a translated piece of science fiction. I was reading the back, and it's about a cryptozoologist. So that's interesting. Yeah, really lame excuse to buy a book, but I bought the book. It's fine. You know, there are worse things in the world than to buy a book just randomly. Is that right? Do you think that's right? I have a thing on your face. Yeah. The next book that I got is Leave the World Behind. This is by Ruman Alam, and I have read this. I got this book because some of my students did have to read it for, I think they're human to nature class. And this is basically a book where this family is go on vacation. They rented out this big house, and the owners of the house come back. And weird stuff starts happening because there was a power outage. There continues to be a power outage, and it's just weird. It's the best way I can describe this book, because it's weird. So this next book that I got was for very similar reasons to Strange Beasts of China, and that is The Unbroken. This is by C.L. Clarke. This is gay. That's why I got it. It's a fantasy that's gay, and I was talking to one of my good friends who I've recently reconnected with, and we were just like, we love gay shit, but guess what we don't like? Gay contemporary shit. We want gay fantasy. And I was like, that urge has been driving me to buy books that are gay but also fantasy, and this is one of them. And I was looking up C.L. Clarke for my spreadsheets. Yeah, it seems that they're doing some really, really cool stuff and writing characters that are people of color but also gay. And so I'm just like, I'm loving this. I'm so excited. I'm gonna read this. What is this about? There is a soldier who was stolen as a child. Okay, I like this last bit. It says, through assassinations and massacres in bedrooms and war rooms, Terrain and Luca will haggle over the price of a nation. But some things aren't for sale. Interesting. Interesting. I wish I had a better reason, but I really don't. I really don't. It's that deep. I just want gay shit. I just want gay shit. And it's lesbians, so it's sapphic. Yay. The next book is The Crooked Path to Abolition, Abraham Lincoln and the Anti-Slavery Reconstruction. This is by James Oates. And this is another book that my students have to read. And this is going to be really interesting because we don't know a lot about Lincoln's Reconstruction plans or what exactly he planned out. Because guess what? He did not communicate with his vice president. Anyway, so I think this will be a really, really interesting book. I do like books about Lincoln. I'm very, very fascinated by this time period. So this next book is This Is How You Lose a Time War by Al Motar and Max Gladstone. I know this is gay. I know it's time travel shit. And they're like writing letters to each other. And it's like a war, I guess. Was hesitant about this at first. But then I had to get an extra one of those like buy one, get one half off things to get that deal. And so I got this one. And I'm like, you know what? It's gay. I'm going to try. I'm going to try it. Because it's gay. Judge me all you want. The next book that I got is Son of the Storm by Suya Daves. Oh, forgive me. I'm going to butcher the fuck out of this. Okiyumbogowa. I cannot. All names. Any names that I've not seen before. I got this because it looked interesting. Like, it looked interesting. Like, the cover's pretty. I know it's fantasy. There's some sort of, there's forbidden history. There's warriors. There's stuff that shouldn't exist. Is it gay? I don't know, but I hope it is. But I hope all books are gay. So, that's just me. So, that's this one. The next book is The Captive Prince. This is by C.S. Pacat. And I'm a sucker for, like, these kinds of books. Or maybe just this kind of story in, like, my fan fiction. And basically, it's, like, a forced marriage, I think. Yeah. So, a hero is captured and has to, like, serve the prince as, like, a pleasure slave. So, I'm just like, oh my god, this seems wild. And very much like a lot of the fan fiction I read. So maybe I will like this. And I was like, I just have to get this because I just think this would be a very fun time for me personally. So that is The Captured Prince. For so much reasons. Okay, the next book that I got is Where the Mountain Meets the Moon. This is by Grace Lynn. I got this because I kind of had my eye on it for a bit. But then my library back home was having like they do the summer reading thing that I participate in like every year. And this was one of like the group books. So I was like, you know what? I'll just get it. Like, it's fine. And this is really cute. This tells the story of Midley. She goes on a journey to basically try and change her family's fortune from being like very poor to prosperous and wealthy. And she learns a lot of journeys along the way. This is a middle grade book, and I thought it was, just really, really cute and very emblematic of a lot of like Chinese folktales, which is perfect because that is what she was going for. The next book that I got is The Magus. This is by John Fowles. I don't know anything about this book. Literally nothing. Which I think is kind of good because this is a book that some of my students have to read. That's why I got it. And I kind of like to go into these books blind, not really knowing much. I don't know much about it, but I got it. I forget what class they have to read it for, but it's something. The next book is A History of the World in 6 Glasses. This is by Tom Standage, and this is another book that my students have to read. Some of them. I was like, oh, A History of the World in 6 Glasses. I had my eye on this. You know what? This is a perfect excuse to buy this book. Yeah, and it's just what it says on the tin. A History of the World in 6 Glasses. I'm excited. Sometimes I think people think I'm crazy for wanting to read books like that, but I love it. I love it. It's just something so interesting about that. The next book is The City We Became. This is by N.K. Jemisin. I don't know much about this book, but I want to get into N.K. Jemisin, and I heard this is one of her more recent things, and it's a little bit different than some of like her fantasy. Do I know why? The cover is very different, and that's really all I can tell you. What is this about? What is this about? Young grad student gets off a train. He doesn't remember who he is. So then a gallery director finds weird graffiti. Oh, I like this ending. It says, every great city has a soul. Some are innocent as myths, and some are ancient as myths, and some are new and destructive as children. New York City, she's got 6. So interesting. So I think it's very, very different because it's going to be more like modern setting, if that makes any sense. World setting. Okay. Let's keep going. So this one, you can't really see the cover, but it's Never Caught. This is by Erica Armstrong Dunbar, and it's about a slave who escaped Washington, was never able to be captured despite Washington trying to recapture this slave. This, again, is another book that my students have to read, and I was like, okay, this seems interesting, so let's get it. Don't know what class I have to read it for, but I'm guessing it's some type of history class. Okay, the next book, we're continuing along. This is The Map of Salt and Stars. This is by a person's name that I cannot read because it is covered up. God damn it. Jennifer Zeb Jokudar. Sorry for butchering. But I don't know much about this. I know it has trans representation, so that makes me excited. Have I bought books in the past just because that they have trans representation? Yes. Do I regret it? No. This is, I think it's going to be some sort of journey thing. Map makers, obviously. And I think it's kind of set in a desert area. But I've heard it's good. I've had it recommended to me. So I'm excited about this one. A lot because of the trans representation. Continuing on, we have The Instant Economist. Everything you need to know about how the economy works. This is by Timothy Taylor. This is another book that my students have to read if they're in microeconomics or macroeconomics. I don't remember which one this is for, but it's for one of the two. So that's this one. Yeah, it's about the economy. Yay. The next one is The Dew Breaker. This is by Eldridge Danicat. And I don't know anything about this book because, again, it's one of the books that my students have to read for a literature class. And I don't really want to know more about that than this. Interesting. The next book is In Small Things Forgotten. This is an archaeology of early American life. This is by James Deach, and this is, I think, for an archaeology class that my students have to take, which is really cool that, like, my school offers an archaeology class. But yeah, this seemed really cool. I was like, oh my god, we're doing some anthropology things. I gotta read it. So that's this one. The next one is The Black Dog of Fate. This is An American Son Uncovers His Armenian Past. It's a memoir. This is by Peter Balinian. And I don't know anything about this book other than what it says on the title, and my students have to read it. There were a lot of books that I bought because of that. It's fine. There are worse things to use my money on. Yeah, so there's this one. The next book the last book for this haul, is Lagoon. This is by Eddie Okorafor. She's, I think, most well known on Book Talk for the Benti series that she does, which is like a fantasy series. This is like more sci-fi. And I don't know much about this book other than it was recommended to me by the Storygraph. And, it looked interesting, and aliens crash land on Earth. And that's all I know. That's exciting. Sorry I couldn't give some more detailed explanations, but lately I've just kind of been getting books for very, very simple reasons of it's gay or that looks cool. And that's really it. And I don't really like to do a whole ton of research into like the books that I'm buying until I like get them and read them, because I think that allows for me to not make as many assumptions. Anyway, well, let me know what you think of some of the books before, and since so much of these books were for my school, leave a like little like some sort of like school emoji, I guess, in the comments down below, if you don't want to actually like leave a comment. And I know I have to interrupt your sleeping and let you say hi to everybody or bye to everybody. So I'm going to go cuddle her because I think she wants more attention, because she always wants attention. Is that right? Do you want attention? Yes, she does. At least she's not licking my nose. All right, bye-bye.